Gretchen Watkins has been Chief Operating Officer at international oil and gas company Maersk Oil since 2014. The company is currently producing over 500,000 barrels of oil per day from Denmark, the UK, Qatar, Kazakhstan, the US Gulf of Mexico, Algeria and Brazil. Meanwhile, exploration activities are ongoing in Angola, Norway, Greenland, the Kurdistan region of Iraq, many places, as you will understand. Now, Gretchen, the company, has been investing heavily around the globe. I'm thinking from the tight fields of the North Sea to the giant complex Al Shaheen offshore fields of Qatar. Now, it seems that perhaps where others might have walked away, you've decided to stay put. What's the rationale behind your strategy?
You know, Charlotte, we take a very long-term view at Maersk Oil, and so what we're looking at is sort of three different things. First of all, making sure that every place where we operate now, we operate in an absolutely excellent way, which means we need to be the safest and most reliable operator. And so we've been working very hard on making sure that base foundation is in place in the places where we operate today, like the UK North Sea and like Norway, like Qatar. We've made actually some great strides over the last year, and in fact our safety performance is the best ever this year in terms of number of people that get injured on our work sites, and our operational efficiency is higher than it's ever been before. So that is being put in place right now. We then have a very, I would say, healthy pipeline of projects that we are in the process of bringing through the pipeline here in the North Sea and elsewhere around the globe that will provide midterm growth. So most of these projects like Culzean, like Johan Sverdrup, come on stream towards the end of the decade. And at that point in time, we'll actually be one of the top 5 producers in the North Sea when we get those two projects in particular on stream. And then lastly, you know, we look at longer term growth, and so that's rebuilding our exploration portfolio and bringing new things into our portfolio that show the ability to grow beyond the next decade.
So tell me a bit more about how you have rebuilt your portfolio, because you've also been cutting exploration projects, haven't you?
We have really been refocusing and I would say really refreshing our exploration portfolio. So a good example of that is the farm-in that we just did in East Africa. We announced that last week. We farmed into 5 different licenses in Kenya and Ethiopia. The 2 different operators, Africa Oil and Tullow, already discovered 8 different discoveries in those licenses, with more to come in our view. And so that is really this year our first big step into a couple of new countries for us, and a real step towards rebuilding and refreshing our exploration portfolio for that long-term growth.
Yeah, you discussed earlier, you mentioned this Culzean field in the UK Central North Sea. Tell us a bit more about it, because this asset is expected to produce enough gas to meet 5% of total UK demand at peak production, and you expect it to be around 2020-21. What's the state of play there in that field?
So this is really our flagship project, and we're very excited about it. We actually discovered this through exploration in 2008, the Culzean field. It's a high-pressure, high-temperature gas field located about 250 kilometers due east of Aberdeen. And we sanctioned it in August. We received government approval and partner approval, so we are now in full swing on executing that project. It is a very exciting one for us because it is very technically challenging. So just to give you a sense of what that means, we actually will start to drill the wells middle of next year, middle of 2016, and they actually don't come on stream until about 2019, 2020. So that gives you a sense of the long lead time that is needed, because these are very technically complex wells. The other thing that's really benefited us is the UK has provided a very robust investment environment for us through some tax incentives that they have passed recently, allowing when there is investment in high-tech type of projects like Culzean, tax incentives are available. And so Culzean's actually the first project to be able to take advantage of that. So we're very excited, and I think the number that I like to use, you said 5% of the UK gas demand. It's actually 1 million homes will be lit up with Culzean gas. So it's very exciting for us at Maersk Oil.
You've mentioned the fact that projects in North Sea are technically complex, okay, therefore expensive, I suppose. And as we all know, the decline in global oil prices have created a difficult environment there. Do you still believe there's value in the North Sea?
Absolutely. We sanctioned Culzean at a very robust economic return to us. And with the other mega project that we've sanctioned just this year is Johan Sverdrup. We are an interest owner in that outside operated, actually Statoil operated project. Another mega project, when that comes on stream again about 2020 or so, it'll produce 550,000 barrels of oil a day. It's actually one of the biggest oil projects ever in the Norwegian North Sea. So two very robust projects, even in current environments, because we have really worked hard to take costs out and really worked hard to build very smart, economically efficient projects through both of those.
I think there is excitement as well within the company about the 5 East African oil blocks you have acquired recently. Tell me more about what you've got there.
Yes, so there is a lot of excitement. These are 2 new country entries for us. We've entered Kenya and Ethiopia through this. It's a farm-in with a company, our partner, called Africa Oil. And so we've actually taken 50% of their share, which puts us with about 25% working interest in these 5 blocks. In these 5 blocks, there's already been 8 oil discoveries, and we think there's actually quite a bit more. So what this does for our portfolio is it really starts to replenish that longer-term growth piece, the exploration portfolio, as well as it gives us line of sight to actually a development project, because there are discovered resources that we believe do have commercial materiality to bring to market.
Now, I'd like to know how the fact that you belong to a larger conglomerate known as Maersk Group, a well-known group, how does it help in the current market conditions? What are the advantages of belonging to a larger group like this?
Yes, we find ourselves in a very fortunate situation to be a member of a conglomerate like AP Moller Maersk. And the reason being is that the conglomerate really has a very strong balance sheet. We have a very healthy cash position. And what that does for us is in the current market, where we have very low oil prices, allows us to be very actively pursuing acquisition opportunities that are available in the lower market. And so Africa Oil, the recent East African deal is an example of that. And we're also out in the market looking for other opportunities that present themselves because of this healthy cash position. The other thing it does is because it's a partially private, partially publicly traded company, we are able to take a very long-term view of our investments. And so we do have a long-term view at Maersk. It's a company that's been around for well over 100 years. And when we get together as an executive team, we often talk about the next 100 years, which is a real unique situation to be in, and one that we find ourselves feeling very fortunate about in the current environment.
Are you preparing for a lower for longer oil price environment? And if so, how?
We absolutely are preparing for that, and we have been for quite some time now. We've done a lot of work this year and actually starting last year to really take costs out of the system. We have a goal by the end of next year to have reduced our overall operating costs by 20%. When you look on a per barrel basis, we've actually reduced by about 30% from second quarter of last year to second quarter of this year. So we've really done some great work at the coal face in our operations to bring costs down. We've also unfortunately had to let some people go. We've had some redundancies. By about middle of next year, we will have cut our workforce by about 20% as well. And all of that is really not pleasant to do, but it is sort of setting ourselves up for that lower for longer environment, where we think we can't just make little changes around the edges. We really need to make long-term structural changes that are sustainable.
Okay, Gretchen, thank you very much.
Thanks, Charlotte.
Gretchen Watkins, Chief Operating Officer at Maersk Oil.